People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, I can't watch every game of every youth player and every player that's out on loan, but you know me, I love youth football. I love to keep, a keen eye on what's happening. Tyrese John Jules have actually got the game recorded. I want to watch the Doncaster game before I review him in depth, but he made his debut. I think he got subbed for Doncaster in their game. I believe Coyle was taken off after 45 minutes against Gillingham. Well, for Gillingham against Hull in their defeat. I don't know if that's a tactical decision. I don't know if that's an injury decision. I don't know if the manager just thought, you know what, you're not doing what I set out, what I wanted you to do. You're coming out the team. And considering last week, his first start, his first goal, this time he's been subbed for whatever reason. This is why I believe players need to be exposed to first team level at some level sooner rather than later, because you're immediately learning. I'll get onto it, but the Gillingham gaffer was very critical of his defenders, in that defeat. It looked like Hull random ragged. I've only watched the highlights, but it just looked like Hull random ragged. Hull could have had a couple of more goals. Medley and the rest of the defence, it was backs against the wall. It's last ditch. It's almost that Koscielny versus Bayern Munich when we're losing 10-2 and he's just trying to put his foot everywhere. And it's a good learning experience, The average age of that defence is around 22 years of age. You've got Magolma, I believe, who used to be at Spurs. You've got Connor Ogleve, I believe, bit older than them, but former Spurs lad, isn't the oldest of guys. Medley's in his 20s. Magolma, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce his name, he was also 20. So, League One clubs, they don't have the biggest of budgets. They're gonna look to academy sides and things. It's a mutual benefit. They get players in that can balance their books. We expose our players to first team football. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're young. And this is what I'm saying. Why is that Medley needed to go out on loan? Because you get away with, not that he made mistakes and things, but you get away with certain things at 23's level. In the couple of games Medley's played, he can immediately see, I need to learn things. I need to learn things. Like, you look at the goal they conceded, the last one, he's beaten in the air. Now, why is he beating the air? Is what he needs to ask himself. Why is he beating from that set piece? Even as he's good, he's big enough and able to win that ball. Why is he beating at that? Do you get it? So that's for Medley to go home, go to the drawing board and say, okay, that shouldn't have happened. Let me do this sort of thing. And this is why you should be exposed, man. You learn lessons quickly. League One's an unforgiving place. People trying to get out of that league. They don't care that you're a young player and things. So I love to see that Medley and all these players have been exposed to that, man. He was out jumped by Josh McGuinness, who powered home a header to kill off the host's chances of a comeback in the 82nd minute. His manager, Medley's manager, actually said, it's a good free kick into the box. You say it's a good header, but from my point of view, I just want my centre-back who's nominated to pick him up to pick him up. And what does that tell you? Medley, apparently courtesy of many scouting websites and statistical websites, I believe WhoScore as well, has said he made 13 interceptions. This is why you need to be exposed to first team football, because at 23s, you might get a light-hearted word or that goal might go in, but then Balogun might twang it and score a hat-trick and it's 4-1 and we've won and these things aren't forgotten about. Medley wants to play first team football, and obviously he's a young man. We know that. His managers know that. Everyone makes mistakes. He will make mistakes. But why this is good is because if it's all going great, you never learn. He's been given a role based on what he said. I assume the guy who scored, that's who Medley's meant to pick up. It don't matter that you're a 20-year-old inexperienced lad from Arsenal now. They're looking at it as, listen, you're at this club because I believe you can do something. You've got height, you've got ball playing, you're quick. I've given you a job. That's your man. Don't let him effing score a header. You've let him score a header immediately. Now, I don't think it's the end of the world, but, you could lose your place from the side. You've been given a task, you failed to do it, and next centre-half might come in, next week you're on the bench. You immediately see the result as to why it's important to listen. And, Medley's going to have good games, he's going to have bad games, he's going to get out-jumped. This is it. You're going to play against man physically stronger than you. How is he out-jumped? Is he out-jumped because he's ball-watching? Did he mark his man properly? Did the guy just overpower him? Only Medley and the coaching staff can answer that. But if you've been given a task and you failed to do it, and from the manager's point of view, he's of the belief of, yeah, it was a good delivery, but I've given you a job, I believe you're able to do it, and you've not done it. Do you get it, people? Because that's the benefit. Because Medley's, it don't matter that he's at Arsenal. People are hungry. There's centre-halves on the bench probably looking at that. Not that they want him to fail, but like, therefore, I would have won that header, and Medley would have said the same if he's on the bench. Everyone's competing, and this is going to make Medley a better player, whether he has a future at Arsenal or not, long term. This is way better than playing 23's football, where for the bulk of it you're on the ball. You're seeing lovely passes from Medley. He's literally been given a task, failed to do it. He goes back to the drawing board. You learn from these moments. And it's good, man. Not just him, he made some important blocks. He put himself around. Ultimately, 82nd minute, your legs begin to tire. Your backs are being up against the wall against Hull. As a centre half, your hamstring's probably hurting because you're being stretched wide and you're doing all sorts of things. But you've still got to find a way to maintain that high standard and that focus and that concentration. Even when the lactic acid is settling in, even when you're becoming tired, you've got to still be able to do it. And just based on that, if Medley was the one nominated, he's the closest one. If he is the one nominated, he's failed to meet the header. So the manager's giving you something, you ain't done it. In like Coyle, he got a start last week, he scored. Why were you subbed in the 45 minutes? Is it a tactical decision? If it is, why didn't he believe that you could help them get back in the game? What weren't you doing in the first half? Do you get? And this is not me being critical. These are the questions these players need to ask themselves, and they will ask themselves. Like Medley's got a fantastic attitude, as does Coyle, and this is why they went out on loan, to have these moments. I'm not saying they wanted to lose, obviously, but 23s isn't going to give them this. And a year from now, when they've come back on loan or doing what they're doing, this experience will help them and things like that. So. Yeah, man, it wasn't the most beneficial of times for our young players, man. Obviously, I actually don't know the Doncaster score. And like I said, Tyrese, I've got his game. I'm going to watch it. And in due course, there'll be an upload in relation to John Jules. But in relation to Matt Smith, it was more positive for him, Based on the highlights, it was more or less a man of the match performance from him. They won 3-1 against Rochdale. He obviously got his goal, his first goal in a senior game. Poor defending from Rochdale. He's intercepted, he's picked their pocket, and he's done the rest. Based on extended highlights and just game footage, it looks like he had a good game with his passing range. It looked like he put himself around with the interceptions and trying to break up play. It looked like he recycled the ball when he needed to, and obviously topped it off with a goal. And that's what you want to see. That's what you've got to do in midfield in England. You've got to put yourself around. You've got to be brave. He's an Arsenal player. You've got to show your passing range. You've got to show you can intercept. When the opportunity presents itself, you've got to show you can score. So, fantastic. Better news for Matt Smith. Not quite good news for Medley and Coyle and things like that. There's obviously other players on loan. You've got Ose Tutu at Cardiff. Again, I can't keep hold of all of them people, but let's see. Let's actually see. Let's see if he got any minutes. Sorry, people, quick thing. Cardiff FC results. So yeah, assuming he played. I don't think he's. Oh yeah, he played at right back and they lost 2-0. People, I ain't watched the highlights, so I don't know if he's at fault for any of the goals or how he's played. But he's got some significant minutes. Who else is there that's gone out on loan? You've got Ben Shave. I can't really track Zach Swanson. He's in Holland, and he's no disrespect to him. He's not exactly in a top league in Holland, so it's a bit tough. He's in the second division. It's a bit tough trying to find him. But in relation to Ben Shave, Coventry FC results. Let's see him. So Ose Tutu got minutes against Cardiff. Coventry have played Bristol, I believe, is their latest game. They're actually in action. Coventry and Gillingham are in action tomorrow on Tuesday. So Coyle, Medley and Ben Shave could all face each other. But Coventry played and lost 2-1 on Saturday to Bristol City. Ben Shave's come off the bench. I'm not too sure how many minutes he's got, but he's come off the bench, so he's still waiting and whatnot. It's quite sad, really, because I don't think he really got much of an opportunity to show himself at Arsenal. And a lot of people familiar with matters, again, I haven't spoken to no one that can really tell me what's what, but a lot of people familiar with the Coventry move, mainly Coventry fans, they're saying that this is a permanent move in essence. Like they will pay the money and he'll become permanent. So it's just down to him to keep developing. But this is why they go out on loan. For me, regardless of if you won this week, lost this week, you're learning more than 23s. Not everyone needs to go out on loan. Sometimes certain man is counterproductive to go out on loan, because you go out on loan, you're going to be out of sight, out of mind. You're not going to be in and around the first team. You're not, sometimes, especially the more technical based players, the ones that are quite smaller and more diminutive and don't necessarily are mad quick and mad strong. When you go, you might be playing 4-3-3, you're used to playing a 10, you go on loan to League One, they're playing 4-4-2, you're stationed out on the flanks, you're a player that the ball needs to come to feet for you to do your thing, it's all in the air. You're not going to shine, are you? You're going to look like a mug. People are going to say, oh, he was at Arsenal, he was at this team, and he ain't doing nothing, he's overrated. Look at what's his name again? Dan Crowley. He's at Birmingham now. You know, he had a number of loan spells when he was at Arsenal that had, you know, he went to Thingy, he went to Oxford, he went to what's that team, man? What's that team, people? Barnsley, and he showed initial promise, but it fizzled out for a number of reasons. Why is it when he's permanently bust out to Holland? You know, in his first year at Holland it was quite tough, but he's been able to get 12, 18 months down his belt at Holland and put himself in the shop window, and now he's back in his, well, I think he's from Coventry, but he's back in the Midlands, and he's at Birmingham, and who knows what's gonna happen in his career. He's doing his thing. So yeah, man, in relation to this video, like I said, you lot know me, I love youth football. When I can, gonna just keep offering my opinions on our players that are temporary away from this club. But, you know, it is what it is. And I feel, you know, when you look at the Shaves, the Osei Tutus, these are players that if you're not gonna get a first team opportunity next season or whatever, you got to put yourself in the shop window. You've got to convince Cardiff to take a punt on you permanently and things like that. So yeah, on that note, I've got nothing more to add, so I might as well get out of here. It's always a pleasure. Deluded.